Hideout. That's dope.
I
Ugh,
guess you're right. It wasn't a con exclusive though.
it wasn't.
No, thought it was.
No, it is. It comes in a pizza box for the con, I believe. Like it comes in a pizza box, all four turtles.
Hmm.
Who
It's
knows?
crazy. The Slash is no longer here either.
The slash was exclusive, that coloring.
Yeah.
But let's go. Welcome to
Woo!
Collective Hideout, the podcast where we all get together once a week and we just talk shit about different aspects of the collector fandom, pop culture, movies, whatever the fucking topic is for the week. Really is a way for us to get together and get away from the real world and unwind and not have to worry about the stresses. This evening, I'm joined by Mr. Psycho. How you doing, man?
Doing well. How's it going?
Ah, It's fucking going well. And then we also got Shellhead Tony here, gracing us with his presence. Who? So, so somebody froze for a second. So that's oh, it was me or one of y'all.
I don't know. It was good. It worked for me though.
Perfect. So this evening we out of request we're doing a collectors hideout watches episode, which is one of our monthly episodes where we each watch a movie that we hadn't seen either in a long time or somebody hadn't seen or maybe never seen at all, and then we get on here and we talk about it, we discuss it. Hey, look at that! What's going on, Moo? How you doing? And this evening's movie was requested by Shellhead Tony because he had watched it recently. He's like, "We gotta watch this again. There's a lot of shit, yada 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 yada." So here we are, and we are discussing Batman '89. Definitely a movie I hadn't seen probably since the '90s.
Okay.
Because I'm honestly I'm not against or I'm not I don't hide it. I'm not a Batman fan like that. I've seen it. I've seen all the Batmans up until I saw Bat Nipples.
All
Was there
right.
anything after Bat Nipples besides like the Nolan Batmans and then Affleck and all that shit?
You mean the
No.
Christian Bale?
Well,
Yeah, he was talking about Chris. He was talking about the Nolan films. Yeah, Christian Bale was the Batman in those
yeah,
movies.
Nolan as the director. Yeah.
Um,
So after
after
Bat
Nipples
Nipples,
was wasn't Clooney after Nipples?
he
No,
was
Clooney
Nipples
was Nipples.
When was Kilmer?
Kilmer was
before that.
Batman Forever in '95. Then you had Batman and Robin in '97 or '98, and that was the Bat Nipples.
Okay.
And then you didn't have another Batman movie until 2005, which was Batman Begins.
Okay, so I've seen all the Batman movies then. Oh, look at
There you
that.
go.
So I've seen them shits. Not a huge fan of Batman, so I don't rewatch them often. So, Tony, you wanted to watch this shit and discuss it. Um, you were really excited about it because you were, I guess, you hadn't watched in a while and you were noticing a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So I kind of got into like not an argument, but she didn't agree with me at all. But as I'm watching
Most
the
women
movie, huh?
Most women don't.
Yeah. As I'm watching the movie, it'd been forever, first of all, since I'd watched it. And then I sit down to watch it and I'm like, okay, you start picking up on things like all of the different, like what do you want to call it? Like the model props and stuff where they change between like a scene set and then change over to something that's a model,
Okay.
so on and so forth. There was a lot of that in this movie and you just don't realize it when you're watching it back then. Cause that's the kind of, like I'm gonna say like graphics and cinematography we're used to, right? Because nowadays everything is digital. They make everything look digital, or they do it with a green screen or whatever. And back then it was just we got to build a set, we got to build a prop, we got to build a model. And it's crazy when you go back and watch it now, and you can pick out all the times that there's like a set going on, just by the cinematography and the way they shot it.
Right,
Well,
for like scenes like with the car driving or the fucking the Batwing flying.
right.
The exterior shots, like that it has to be models. Like it's
Yeah, or the freaking the I want to say the castle, but you know what I mean, like the Gotham Tower or whatever it is.
The
Um,
Cathedral. Yeah.
yeah, the whole thing about it is a model. When they're doing a zoomed out shot, it's the model, but then they're on set when they're fighting in it, or they're on set when they're standing on the steps of it. It's a cardboard backdrop. You can tell cardboard backdrop and some steps, and then it's fogged out and stuff just to, you know, give you the illusion that they're standing there. But so I watched the movie and I'm like, the Heath Ledger Batman took, I said stole, Corinne said it's not the right term, but way too much inspiration from 89 Batman Joker and that movie. And when I explain the scenes, you're gonna be like, okay, I can see it. So
Okay.
yeah, you have, does anybody have anything before I get into this? Are you ready to
Well,
talk
no,
about
'cause
this?
so I mean, before you get into it, like I've always seen the Jokers are different. They're different style Jokers, right?
Sure.
Where I feel obviously 89 Batman's Mafia Joker. Then you have, I would never like Heath Ledger. I wouldn't put him down as Mafia Joker. He's just more of like a lone wolf, loose cannon. Like he's insane, but not Mafia. Then you have fucking dipshit with the tattoos on his face. He's fucking a different type of Joker. Like everybody's like at their own version of Joker. So I don't see how they would like go against each other, but I can also understand where Heath Ledger might look at Jack Nicholson's portrayal and take, you know, inspiration from it because it was a good Joker, at least some of it.
So if you know, okay, so and Cal's already like getting like into the right realm of where I guess I'm trying to go with it. So if you watch Nicholson's Joker is very, very heavily reimagined, I guess you could say, right? Off of Cesar Romero, right? So Cesar Romero's Joker in the 66 Batman is very heavily mirrored after that, which is obviously a mixture of him and the comic book Joker at the time, because at the time you're talking 80s comic book Joker. You're not talking about, mid 90s where the Joker gets a little darker and a little more, he's killing people like in the comics and you're seeing it, that kind of thing, as opposed to like the older Batman and the older Joker where it was like, yeah, it was deadly punchlines, but you really weren't seeing that kind of stuff and what have you. So most characters like just pull inspiration from Grace. Yeah, no, that's a good. He's making a good
Oh,
point
just
there.
so I believe Moo had told me earlier today that he really loves this movie, so he made sure to be here for this conversation. He's a big fan of this movie.
So when you watch the Heath Ledger Joker and you really start analyzing the two movies, I was watching 89, I'm like, wait a minute. And I'm like, wait a minute. And it probably happened 3 or 4 times. And I'll just kind of start at the beginning. So you've got Heath Ledger Joker. When he introduces himself, he bursts into the room, right? Or what have
Right.
you, slinks up into that room with all the mob bosses and quote unquote kills the guy with the disappearing pencil trick.
Quote unquote, he does kill him. There's a
okay, well, whatever. Kills the guy with the disappearing pencil trick. Introducing himself, kind of like appointing himself that this is what you're gonna do. And you're not gonna fuck with me about it. This is what needs to happen. This is what you're gonna do. I'm the one that's gonna do it. You tell me when you guys are ready to, man up or shut up kind of thing. And then he dips out of the room. Well, in the Nicholson one, same thing happens. When Nicholson comes in,
fries him.
Yep, he's introducing himself as the Joker. He's in front of all these mob bosses. They're like, fuck you. Why should we even bother with you? Where's Grissom? And he's like, oh, well, that's kind of funny. You should say something. He goes up and shakes the dude's hand and fries him and kills him. There's one scene. Then you've got
scene.
That
scene was one thing that started one aspect that I found annoying about the movie.
Okay.
Was Joker putting on makeup to not be white.
Yeah.
His white pale skin, he put on the makeup to look like a normal person. And I was like, I didn't like that because, like, no, your look is the white face now. Like, people, I feel like if he was there as the white face, the mob bosses would take him less serious, and then making that scene where he shakes hand and kills him would add more to it. Like, as a normal person, they don't know what's going on. All right, yeah, you're just this guy, and he does it. All right, yeah, he's the boss now. But if in the Joker face, I feel like the less seriousness that they would take him would make that a little bit more powerful of him stepping up and telling you you're bowing down to me now, and I look like this, so fuck you.
I think his whole point to enter the room and not be looking like the Joker was to get their guard down. That he's because essentially, right, he was the right hand for Grissom. And so he steps into the room and they're like, wait a minute, where's Grissom? And he's like, it's cool. I'm here. You guys know me. You know who I am. So if he goes in there, quote unquote, guns blazing, but if he goes in there full Joker gear, they're like, what the fuck? Who's this? I think that would have shut down the scene. But, he goes through and he commands the attention in the room as soon as he realizes they're not going to listen to him. He's like, all right, fuck it. Kills the one dude. Now all of a sudden everybody's down for whatever he's got to say.
And then talks to him.
Well, I mean, but that's what happened in the Heath Ledger one. Joker enters the room. They don't want to listen to him. They think it's a joke. Kills the one dude. All of a sudden, they're interested. They're listening, and the one, even the Russian guy, he's like, "Well, I want to hear what he's got to say now. Let's see what's up." And so, that's one scene. Another one is where he's getting to know like the Joker's got the love interest for Vicky Vale, right? So I don't know if it's beauty or what, because they try to do the same thing in the Ledger one where he's all about the girl Rachel all of a sudden, right? She's so beautiful, this, that, and whatever.
Welcome, Rockman. Welcome back.
But they established he was up and coming. They already knew him and never considered him a threat. Yeah, he was a joke. He didn't go as far as to be the Joker yet, but yeah, still with that scene. But the same thing. You've got a love interest, right? Now maybe that's just cinematic, but there's a love interest, and it just happens to be the girl that Batman's good with, and so it's that same thing all over again. Then you've got the scene at the end where the Joker's sitting there, and Batman's coming at him with the Batwing, and Psycho, you got to pass that stone, man. You look like you've got gas.
I'm just trying to listen to you, but there's lots of stuff I want to say, and I'm trying to wait my turn. That's all.
So, you got, Joker at the end of the 89 Batman where he's sitting there with the gun, right? And he's got the big old gun and he's trying to take out the Batwing.
So stupid.
We've got the same I think it's a fantastic scene, but we've got the same thing where Bale's going after Heath Ledger on the bike, and Heath Ledger's sitting there, cackling at him with the machine gun. Same style scene. Then you've got the scene where, and this one's a little bit of a stretch, I guess, per se, but I don't 100% feel that way. But you've got the Joker at the end of 89 where he's hanging from the helicopter with the
gargoyle attached.
Yeah, the gargoyle hanging off of him. And I think that scene could have went 100 different ways. They didn't have to kill him in the movie. But he's hanging like that or whatever. Well, it's kind of the same thing with Ledger, where Ledger's hanging upside down. They could have let Heath Ledger die there, but they didn't. They just left him hanging where Batman wasn't going to kill him, because that was like the whole thing, right? They made such a big deal in the Heath Ledger one that Batman doesn't kill anybody, and Joker was like, no, I'm going to make you do it, basically. And, Heath Ledger's sitting there dangling around on this rope talking to Batman, and they could have done the same thing with Nicholson, but they didn't do it. But those scenes were similar enough. I just think that they changed it up for the Ledger Batman because of that movie, because of how much of a big deal they made about him not killing. Because they never really talk about him not killing in the 89.
Yeah, well, he tells Joker, "I'm going to kill you," right? He's like, "I'm going to kill you."
Yes.
But hold on, while we're here, real quick, Psycho. It's never explained. Now, tell me if I'm on the wrong idea from what Tony's saying. How it's inspired, right? Ledger's Joker was inspired by Nicholson. I mean, the scars that Ledger has.
Uh-huh.
If Nicholson had surgery to fix his mouth because of the ends, his nerve endings that were damaged, that's why he was smiling. In theory, if they had done surgery, he would have had the same scars. Like, it's almost like Ledger has the scars because he's got the fixed mouth that Nicholson had.
So there's
wrong.
No? Christopher Nolan has never specified why the Joker looks like that, right?
I'm just saying, it just seems like it's just a coincidence. Maybe it's just like it
This
kind
is
of adds more
speculation
to
talk,
Tony's
man. This
theory.
isn't
Yeah.
gospel. I didn't look anything up.
So like allegedly,
Heath Ledger.
the theory is that Heath Ledger's Joker was ex-military, which is why he knew how to be able to handle a gun, which is why he was able to do all those things in the parade and stay in
That's fine.
formation and everything else, and that he was a soldier. And the line, because people say that his line about a truck full of soldiers blowing up and nobody bats an eye, right? And people speculate that Heath Ledger's Joker was a soldier who was in war, who got blown up, who suffered all this stuff, and then they just kind of like threw him away. And that's kind of what inspired this anachronistic outburst, right? And people have brought that theory up to Christopher Nolan, and he kind of just like shakes his head and he's like, it's an interesting theory, but he never confirms it. So there's never been any explanation of where the scars came from.
So it's just a design, just an homage design almost. You know what I mean? Like that's just a coincidence, maybe.
It's because in the comics, Joker has that smile that he can never wipe off his face. So they're trying to find a realistic way to explain how that would happen, right?
Okay.
And that's kind of how it is. In the comics, they just say, oh, yeah, no, when he fell in the acid, this happened, blah, blah, blah. And in the 89 Batman movie, they tried to explain it by saying that they tried cosmetic surgery. And that whole scene is ridiculous. One bullet hits this tiny little dial, right? And the glass from that tiny little dial slices up his face so deep, even though it's nowhere, like it doesn't make any sense. But again, it is what it is.
No, Heath Ledger's Joker said his father made the cuts, but it's not saying that they had the same issue, Joe. I'm just saying
he says
that
two different things.
But we're saying like that it seems like they had that design kind of inspired as if that was it. Like Jackson had the smile, and then Heath Ledger had the scars, kind of representing that same type of thing.
And I mean,
it's not that they're the exact same problem. It was just almost like it was designed to me. Design choice that they made for that reason.
So
it's like I'll continue with your debate on everything.
No. What I was saying is I get what Tony is getting at. I don't know that it's copying it as much as it's trying something similar but different, right? Because we don't really have a definitive Joker backstory. We don't. There's been all kinds of different Joker backstories throughout the comics over all the decades, and we do not have one definitive Joker backstory. So it's kind of hard to come up with one. As far as the beginning, in The Dark Knight, Heath Ledger's Joker shows up like right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Right? In Batman 89, we're a good 45 minutes into the film before Jack Nicholson's character shows up. Jack Nicholson's character, as Joker, not Jack Napier, but Joker.
Right. I'm like,
no, we're like 45 minutes into the film before Jack Nicholson's Joker shows up.
Sure.
Right? And when he goes into that meeting, you have to remember what Eckhart said to him. Right? When he pays off Eckhart and he's like, hey, think about the future. And Eckhart's like, listen, you don't know about the future. And that was kind of like tipping him off that Grissom was going to do something. So when Grissom sends him to the plant and the cops show up, he knew that he'd been double crossed. Right? Yep. So it's like he knew through Grissom that he was gonna be going. So these other mob bosses, they're going to listen to him as a right-hand man, but also they're not going to care because they understand that Grissom was getting rid of him. And so he's making a statement. I just think there is similarity there, but I don't know that it's stolen from the film, right?
I would say the originality is not there because, and you could say it's coincidental all you want, but we have 3-4 scenes that are extremely similar in nature for that movie. He didn't just come up with that out of thin air, man. I mean, it's very, very similar scenes there. And now they're obviously darker, more brooding, and are made for the times of today, right? What we get away with now in cinema, as opposed to back then, where they wouldn't have made that dark of a movie per se.
Well, and I think that um that's where the real magic of this movie comes from, right? So I watched the 1966 Batman movie, right? Before I watched 89's Batman again, just so I could kind of try to put myself in the same headspace as people walking into the movie for the first time. You know what I mean? Like, so this was the Batman that everybody knew up until Tim Burton gave this version of the film, right? So
that comes a question I have, because, like I said, I'm not a Batman fan like that. I don't know his history.
yeah,
Because I would know, obviously, the Batman from Adam West. Like, I would know that Batman.
yep,
And then you have 89 Batman.
yep.
In the comics in the 80s, was that leading up to like the same style as the darker Batman, not the fucking let's dance and shit Batman? Like, where did he get that change?
So yes and no, right? So the first dramatic shift in tone for Batman, probably, and again, I'm not a Batman historian. I know comics, but I'm not saying with 100% certainty.
Didn't the artist change? Didn't the artist change?
Well, yeah. But what I'm saying is, we first started to get this darker Batman when they released The Dark Knight Returns in 1986, right? Then we see this older Batman, this more serious Batman, this Batman for the first time in comics genuinely killing people, right? And that happens for the first time in The Dark Knight Returns, the graphic novel. I mean, you all know what it is, but it came out in 1986, right? And I would argue that was definitely a influence on Tim Burton. But then in 1988, you had The Killing Joke, right? Where the whole concept of Joker being this like absolute terrible killing machine was even more solidified, because the Joker that we see in The Dark Knight Returns is also older, homicidal, killing people, but not to the level of depravity that you saw in The Killing Joke 2 years later, right? And so you have Batman 89 being made in the shadow of The Killing Joke. And at the end of The Killing Joke, if you guys remember in the comics, and they tried to do it in the film, it just didn't work as effectively. The last frame in The Killing Joke comic is Batman with his hands kind of like on Joker's neck and shoulder, leaving you wondering as the reader, is Batman actually killing Joker, right? And the artist for The Killing Joke, god damn it, who was it?
Stalin, or I just looked it up because the guy, he did the Death in the Family in '88.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was. Doesn't matter. The point is
something.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I don't remember his name, so it doesn't matter. God damn it. But anyway, like, he's been asked afterwards, was Batman killing the Joker? And he's like, that's what I wanted the reader to decide. Right at the end of this graphic novel, I wanted the reader to decide, after everything the Joker had done, was Batman finally at his breaking point and said, "This is it. I gotta stop this."
Okay. So, I guess that leads to part of. All right. So for the most part, this movie I did enjoy it. I just have parts of it that I have problems with, right? And I know throughout the years, the idea that Joker is the one who killed his parents has been tossed around in different versions. But I guess I hadn't really thought about that. So watching this, and then they do the flashback scene, and then he realizes, like, oh, all of a sudden it's like, oh, Jack's the one who killed my parents. I'm like, so that's what we're doing? Like, we're going that route? Joker killed his mom and dad? Like, is this really? Because is that like a constant canon now? or is that still like a nobody really knows who kills his parents? It just depends on the story. It might be Joker.
It depends because for the most part, it's Joe Chill, right? Canonically speaking, Joe Chill is the person responsible for killing Bruce Wayne's parents.
Okay.
But then it's been complicated. Just like in Batman Begins, it was ordered by somebody, right? So that's where the complications arise. And there were other
things change in different iterations, but
yeah. But
'cause, like,
primarily,
I was like, I'm like, that's just weird. I didn't like that they made it. Oh, it's Joker, and then they couldn't get like somebody just looked more like Jack Nicholson to be the guy who did it. Like somebody who looks completely different, Jack Nicholson, to be young Jack Nicholson was weird.
primarily it's Joe Chill who kills Batman's parents.
Okay.
But to finish answering your previous question, up until The Dark Knight Returns and The Killing Joke, Joker was very just clownish, right? He was very Cesar Romero. He had schemes that were bad, right? Like people got hurt, but he was just a ridiculous clown.
Explosives and robberies. That's what it was.
Yeah, right? Like, here's a big bomb, right? And then the bomb would blow up, except instead of it blowing up, it would be confetti. And people would be like, oh, okay. And then they'd gather around, and then it would actually blow up. And that's what the Joker would do. It wasn't until we got. It wasn't until we got The Killing Joke that they really started making Joker dark. And so all the iterations of Joker, whether it be the 66 Cesar Romero or the cartoons that came after that, Super Friends, and everything leading up to it. So that's kind of why this Joker was so different and dark. And it's funny that Tony talked about the influence of Cesar Romero. My wife actually watched 89's Batman with me last night. I told her I was going to watch it for the podcast. She's like, oh, I haven't seen it for a long time. Let's watch it. And so we were watching it. And the very first time she hears Nicholson laugh as a Joker, she's like, he does have a really good Joker laugh. But all I could hear was Cesar Romero's laugh because I had watched earlier the 66 themed movie because I wanted to see, again, as I said, what people had in their mind going into this movie for the first time. And all I could hear is Jack Nicholson essentially, doing his best to mimic Cesar Romero's Joker laugh. And it's so odd because it doesn't sound menacing, right? So the definitive Joker for me, whenever I read a Joker comic book now, it is Mark Hamill. That's the Joker voice I hear whenever I'm reading anything. And so when it does Joker's laugh, I hear it in Hamill's interpretation, and it starts so joyful, and then gets like super sinister and dark, and then ends kind of like with more joy. And it's just, I don't know. I thought it was very interesting.
Just want to acknowledge that Rocket Man said that there's a storyline where they find out that the family was killed by the Court of Owls who put Chill up to it. So
yeah.
it bounces around with different versions, but okay.
But so not that this matters to anybody, but actually my first movie in theaters was a double feature of Ghostbusters 2 and Batman 89. So yeah, it was my first experience in the movie theater. And so this movie has always had a very special place in my heart. As far as live action Batman, I think that Michael Keaton is the definitive live action Batman.
He's a great Bruce Wayne.
Oh, see, I go the other way around. I think he's a great Batman. I'm not so much a fan of his look as Bruce Wayne. All I can see is Mr. Mom.
Yeah, fair. But I mean, I think I think it was a product of its time too, right? Like the perm in his hair, right? The way, like, that's what the style was back then. So it's hard to separate those things. But I think that you have a playful billionaire kind of recluse as Bruce Wayne, and I thought Michael Keaton played that well. And personally, I believe if we had given Michael Keaton the bat suit that Christian Bale got in The Dark Knight, people would think a lot differently about him being the definitive Batman. remember that the Batman suit that Keaton wore was like 80 pounds. He could not turn his head. He couldn't lift his legs up enough to really kick. And so you had a lot of those same problems with Batman Begins, which is why in The Dark Knight, he's completely
Naked.
He's completely changed the bat suit. He can turn his head. He can move. Like, it's just.
So, I mean, like I said, I felt watching it, I felt like he did fine as Bruce Wayne. I wasn't a fan. And it doesn't mean, oh, he was a horrible Batman. I guess when I compare him to some of the other Batmans we've had, I don't think he was the greatest Batman we've had, live action wise. But it doesn't take away from the movie. It's just like you said, probably the time you have to understand like the suit, how it was, because the fight scenes looked really, really kind of stiff. I'm like, all right, this is kind of all right, cheesy. I'll accept it. It's fun though. It was still a fun watch. But then there's just things that happen in it that you have to just chalk it up to comic book logic, right? So like Tony loves the scene where he takes out the big ass fucking gun from his pants and takes down the fucking Batwing, right? But Batman is flying straight at him with like machine guns and shit blasting, and
It's a great
Tony
scene.
stands there, completely misses, takes one shot with this ridiculously long fucking revolver, and takes out the Batwing. Like, I was like, that's fucking no, that's ridiculous. But like I said, comic book logic will allow it, but Jesus, that was bad. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I think that was very much comic book Joker on film, right? Like, he's gonna pull out this ridiculously large gun, and shoot the Batwing, and of course, like, he shoots it, and because, like you said, comic book logic, he hits it in the motor, and the motor catches fire, and Batman's like, shit, and he crashes. But it's that there are scenes in the film that are very much straight out of a comic book, and
Right. That's what I said. Is you have to just accept it as comic book logic, right? It's a comic book. You have to accept those things. It's not going to be exact science. It's not going to be real world. It's comic book.
yeah, and to acknowledge something that Rocket Man is saying, I thought Affleck was a great Batman, right? I thought Affleck was a great Batman, and we could talk about that a little bit later, but I don't know. I don't think that people appreciate the Michael Keaton the way that they should, especially considering the limitations he had, which are not there now, right? He didn't have to do some stupid voice like Christian Bale did when he was Batman. That wasn't something he did, right? He didn't. You didn't have to rely on.
But he turns on a fucking light inside the car to blind the bitch so she can't look at it.
Like, you didn't have to rely on intense fighting scenes to carry the Batman moments, because you couldn't do that back then. Like, the suit would not allow it. And it's crazy because that's a criticism that they had when the movie came out. Oh, Batman doesn't do a lot of fighting like he did in the show. But in the show, you had Adam West wearing just essentially regular clothes. It wasn't heavy at all. There was no armor plating. There wasn't any of this stuff. It was all soft goods.
West.
Okay, so here's another question then, when it comes to the fighting aspects, since we're talking about right now. When did Batman actually become ninja? When did that become part of Batman's story?
Well, he was trained by the League of Assassins.
Well,
No, I'm saying, but when did that become part of his story, though?
I mean, that's his prior lore. So, like, they explain all of that. If they do it in earlier comics, I don't know when, but I know for a fact during the Nightfall series, they explain where he comes from and that he was trained way back
so
when.
I guess my question being, when you watch, like, obviously 89 Batman, nothing about the way he's fighting is somebody has ninja fighting experience, right? Like,
they don't address it.
There. Right, but he's much more like a brawler, right?
Yeah, they don't address it. They don't address the second movie either.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I was curious. When does that become part of his lore?
Like, so that becomes part of the lore in the 70s. when there was a new writing
shit.
team doing it, and they wanted to try to make him more realistic. That was when we also first got introduced to what you saw at the beginning of Batman Begins, where he leaves home and travels the world trying to learn about crime and trying to learn about fighting and all this other stuff.
Right.
And then what happens is later after that, I think in the late 80s, Tony could tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it was the late 80s when they first started talking about him being trained by the League of Assassins. And that's where he learned not only his fighting, but his theatricality and everything. And we saw that depicted in Batman Begins as well.
Because
Yeah,
because
they
that's always
talk
been
about it, but-
something.
Go ahead.
That's always just been something that's bothered me about any Batman movie, right? Because obviously they're limited to the actor's capabilities, unless they want to use a stuntman. Because for a character that we know is supposed to be a trained ninja or trained by assassins of some sort, he doesn't fight like that in the movies, right? Because if you look at the Batman, obviously video games much different than what you could do live action with George Clooney or like a Michael Keaton. But when you look at the Arkham games, he's flying around very like you can see where it's it's a ninja style this and that. But none of the movies they actually let him have that skill set. It seems they've hinted at it, they've discussed it, but nobody I've seen where I'm like, oh, the way he fights is very much like a ninja.
I don't know. I would say that Batman Begins, he is very much ninja-like, sticking to the shadows,
So he
attack.
does stealth, absolutely.
Well, no, but even his fighting style, right? Like
Um,
the way that he would swoop in and attack people when they were most vulnerable. He went immediately for takedowns instead of beating them up. Ninjas don't do a lot of fighting. They take people down. If they have to fight, then they brawl until they get the upper hand. But
all right. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm picturing. Maybe I'm expecting to see ninja. I'm expecting to see fucking Batman doing fucking martial arts. Goddamn Bruce Lee in a bat suit, whooping ass. Because when you think ninjas, you're thinking martial arts of some sort, karate, jujitsu. You know what I mean? Like, and he's not. They in Batman Begins, like they comment on it and they mention they show the training aspects, right? Swords and all that. Like he never like his actual style though never really reflects it. And he's a
So,
bigger guy, so you expect him to be more like Raphael from the Ninja Turtles, like just kind of bigger but still kicking ass.
so the Bale movies are the only ones where you get any inkling that he has come from any assassins or any training or anything like that. So like the other movies, yeah, he's fighting and you believe he's got to have some kind of training. How could he fight these guys without a problem? But the only time they ever investigate or give you any inkling that that's where he's coming from is in the Bale movies. The rest of them don't ever touch on it. It's just you see the guy fighting, and that's it. Like the Batman, that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I love that movie. Not a popular movie amongst other people. I like the guy who plays the Batman, and I like the way he's portrayed in the movie. And even when he fights, he's a brawler in that movie. He's not a ninja of any kind. Now he does hide in the shadows, but as soon as he comes out, he's relying on his own, like what do you want to call that? Like his presence to be the fear, and then he beats the fuck out of the first person, almost like he's in a fight with bullies, where he's like, all right, let me beat up the biggest guy, and the rest of these guys will run away.
Right, like I said, like, almost like a brute strength, a brawler. Like he goes and it's brawling.
So according to Google, the history of this is as follows. In the 70s, Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams revitalized the character by heavily leaning into global globetrotting, Eastern philosophy, and covert arts.
Globetrotters.
They also introduced Ra's al Ghul in the League of Assassins. And then in 1987, you had Batman Year One, and Frank Miller explicitly grounded Bruce Wayne's pre-Batman global journey, emphasizing stealth, hand-to-hand combat, and operating entirely from the shadows. And then finally in 1991, in a comic line called Blind Justice, they featured direct flashbacks of Bruce being trained in Asia and Europe under ninja-like mentors, and they introduced Henry Ducard, which we all know, like from Batman Begins, ended up being Ra's al Ghul. He wasn't Ra's al Ghul in the comics, but that he played the same role, teaching him fighting and ninjutsu and all that. But the first time we ever see it in film being mentioned is in 1992 in the Batman animated series episode Night of the Ninja. They officially integrated canonical backstory of Bruce Wayne studying under a strict martial arts master at a Japanese dojo before becoming Batman.
Okay. So I'm not even getting
Sorry.
I'm not even getting into the animated series because I got nothing on that. So, but I can see where they would have done that. But live action wise, it would have been Batman Begins.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's just for somebody that we know is supposed to be trained by assassins. He's never in the live action. He's never portrayed the type of, I guess, a stereotypical idea of what a ninja would kind of fight like. It's always been more brawler, brute, and it works for what they've done. Like I said, at the same time, I also understand that you have to depend on what the actor is actually capable of doing themselves.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to just like, oh, every time it's in suit, we have to change the actor to somebody who can, be a ninja.
I would think of all the actors who portrayed Batman, I would have thought Christian Bale would have been one of the few who probably would have had some gymnastics ability or something, or even martial arts ability, where he could have they could have really like shown more of that side of Batman. But again, these guys are also, like you said, running around with 80, 100 pounds of suit or whatever covering them. I mean, my God, you'd have to have extraordinary strength and stamina and agility to be able to do all that anyway by yourself. And now you've got all that extra gear on you. Yeah,
And so,
I mean, it's funny you mentioned about the Keaton thing. That's been brought up so many times, and when you're watching the movie, you forget until stupid stuff happens where when he's running with Vicky Vale, and they can't go anywhere, so he's trying to figure out a way out. And it's funny because I was watching it with Rebel Girl, and she was laughing about it too, because he doesn't turn his head to look to see where to go. His whole body, he goes,
yep.
And then he's like, he goes to look up, and he goes, his whole fucking body goes back. And then, of course, he's like, how much do you weigh? And she's like, oh, about 108.
Yep.
And then he's like, you weigh a little more than 108.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I think what stood out to me most, because I've watched the movie several times. Like I said, I really enjoy it, and Batman Returns as well. People often talk about Batman Returns, and they're like, oh my God, he actually meant to kill somebody in Batman Returns, right? Like he put the dynamite in the guy's waist and kicked him into the sewer and he blew up. But I documented several times. Like I was taking notes on the movie yesterday just because I wanted to make sure I had stuff to say.
You've always got something to say, Psych.
There were several times where Batman straight up murders somebody in Batman 1989 and nobody talks about it.
I guess like when he kicks the guys over the side and like, they're fought like in the Axis Chemicals or whatever, whatever the hell, Ace Chemicals. Not just Nicholson, but I think there's one of the guys.
There's another guy that he kicks, but he also catches him with the batarang and ties him up. He doesn't die, but in the very beginning, it says that those two guys that were talking about the Batman before he shows up for the first time. The one guy says he threw Johnny Gobbs off the roof onto the concrete below. We don't see it happening, but they describe Batman, and then Batman shows up and looks exactly like the description. So you have to wonder if they found the guy splattered on the pavement, if Batman actually threw him off the roof, because the first guy, he's going to throw him off the roof, and he ends up not throwing him off the roof. So it's kind of like, did he throw a guy off the roof? But also when he goes to the chemical plant in the Batmobile, you see him pull up and the gate is down, right? And he shoots the gate completely in half with his machine guns on the Batmobile, and the bottom of the gate falls and he drives in. And when he drives in, there's tons of guys there, right? How many of those guys were standing there before he cut that gate in half with those giant machine guns and got cut in half themselves, right? But even if you ignore that,
comic book logic.
When he pulls up inside the chemical plant, and all the guys are talking shit like, "Get out of the car, we dare you." He drops bombs from each of his 4 wheels and drives away, and then they explode, and the whole plant is exploding. There's absolutely no way those guys survive at all.
They're just sleeping a little bit. They're
And
all
then-
tuckered out.
It's off screen, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't count.
And in the final fight, he's fighting that guy at the bell tower, right? The guy throws him down the shaft, and he goes to look, and Batman was hanging on with his hands, and he grabs the guy with his legs and throws him down, and the camera watches that guy falling all the way down until he disappears in the darkness, and then it pans away. You saw him go up the stairs. That guy's dead, right? Like, you know what those stairs
Spider-Man
are.
saved him.
Nah. Like,
Everybody gets one. That's the rule.
Hey, Spider-Man.
uh,
I'm in the wrong universe.
I mean, he is absolutely trying to kill Joker when he's in the Batwing, right? Like, he's firing the missiles, he's firing the guns.
That was
He's
the goal.
trying.
He's trying,
But misses every goddamn time. He gets taken down by a fucking revolver.
he does. But what I'm saying is, he's trying to kill him. And then you already said this, but when he finally gets a hold of Joker, he tells him, "I'm gonna kill you." And that's where the Joker's like, "Oh, well, you made me. Why are you so upset?" And at the
No,
end-
you made me. You killed my parents. Shut the fuck up, you bitch. Just fucking kill him already.
That's a totally different movie, Chris.
and then at the end,
It wasn't. That was it. God damn it.
at the end, he knew exactly what was going to happen when he tethered that gargoyle to Joker's leg, right? Like, he wasn't like, "Oh shit, I didn't mean for Joker to fall to his death." He absolutely meant for Joker to fall to his death, right?
It's like either he's gonna get ripped off the fucking ladder, or his body's gonna rip in half. Either way.
yeah, like
He's
he knew Joker was going to die. And so it's just funny to me because, again, I'm one of these people that believes that everybody who thinks that Batman doesn't kill people isn't paying attention, right? Like, it happens. But it's always been surprising to me that people talk about that one moment in Batman Returns, but never talk about all the things that happened in Batman 89.
So the problem, or not the problem, I think what you run into when it comes to Batman doesn't kill people. People, I personally, I feel that they don't count nobody's side characters who's not important to anything. They're like, oh,
Right,
they
they
don't
didn't
kill
really
him.
die.
But like, besides this movie, he doesn't kill Joker. He doesn't kill all these bad guys who are killing millions of people and thousands. Like, just fucking kill them, and you'd be done. But he doesn't. He locks them away. Then they escape, and they do it again. Right? Like, I think that's where people get the idea that he doesn't kill because he doesn't defeat his foes by killing them. I think it's just that stigma that's come along. Because you say the same thing, Superman doesn't kill, but if you really look at it, he's killed some people. But
Yeah,
he doesn't kill.
And Superman does kill, right? Like, in the comics, Superman has said he tries everything that he can to not kill, but if taking a life is the only way that he can ensure the safety of something, he will take. Like, he's not against it. I
Right,
think,
but still, he's one that gets that stigma though that he won't do it. But he does. But he still has that stigma that he doesn't kill anybody.
I think that the issue becomes people look at comics and they don't understand. Well, you spent all this time building up a villain in the comics. You're not going to kill them off only to never use them again, right? Like, that's why characters are not killed in the comics. If it was real life, as soon as Batman got his hands on the Joker, that'd be it. He'd be like, you know what? It's time for you to
That
go.
was obviously different franchises or different universes, but Stan Lee's rule was never kill him because you never know when you can use him in the future.
Exactly.
What's going on, Diaz?
It just, I don't know. And again, in Batman Begins, right, he kills Ra's al Ghul. And people can say, well, no, he specifically doesn't kill him. But when you're standing there, you know the train is plummeting to a fiery end, and you're like, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you. You've effectively killed him. Saying I don't have to save you is killing the person. It is what it is.
I mean, that's death by proxy, right? That's like saying in Alien 3 that the alien killed Hicks when it was the ship, but the alien caused the ship to. That's different.
It's not different. It's the same shit.
It's different.
there's a stigma with superheroes, right? Where like especially Superman more than Batman, but there's a stigma that, or at least there used to be, that you've got a hero and a hero doesn't kill people, right? A hero does the right thing and brings them to justice, and does and stops the villain, but they don't kill because then they're no better than the villain, and that's a stigma with Superman real bad. But with Batman, in the Heath Ledger movie, he even again the 90% of that movie is Heath Ledger testing Batman's patience. What's it going to take to get you to kill me, basically?
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie, he's like, I'm going to make you break your rule. You're going to do it tonight. You're going to break your fucking rule.
He was like really trying to almost get like a very extreme version of suicide by police, right?
Yeah.
Like,
it was essentially what we saw in The Dark Knight, in my opinion, was The Killing Joke, but focused on Batman and not Commissioner Gordon, right? Because in The Killing Joke, Joker was trying to prove that the best person, right? And they said Commissioner Gordon, like, he's the best of the best in The Killing Joke. He's like, I can break him. I can turn him into a psychotic. I can make him just like me. All I have to do is do these things. And so in The Dark Knight, that's what you see. You see the Joker. Tony earlier said that he's got an obsession with Rachel Dawes. He doesn't, right? It's just Rachel Dawes is a means to an end. He knew that both the district attorney, Harvey Dent, and Batman had a thing for her. So he's like, okay, well, I could turn both Harvey and Batman. Watch me. It had nothing to do with any kind of love interest from Joker's perspective, and everything to do with, again, the idea from The Killing Joke, which is I can take this person, this incorruptible person, and I can make them like me, right? Nobody is incorruptible. And what he finds out at the very end, and he says it, right? Like, we've reached a stalemate, essentially, right? You won't kill me because it's against your code, and I won't kill you because you're just too much fun. Like, torturing you and tormenting you is just too much fun, which is why at the end of The Killing Joke, when Joker had Jim Gordon tied up, he had made him watch, like, go through this ridiculous fun house of nightmares and see all these pictures of his daughter after she was shot, and Joker disrobed her and, like, did all these terrible, humiliating things to Barbara Gordon.
Yeah, he did.
At the very end, Joker could have killed Gordon. He absolutely could have killed him. There was nothing stopping him other than the fact that he wanted to prove that he could make Jim Gordon just like him. And that's what Heath Ledger's Joker was trying to do, right? And so as far as what Rocket Man said with it not being inspired by comics, I mean, the exact opposite is true. Before Tim Burton made 89's Batman, the guy who owned the film license, Michael Uslan, gave Tim Burton a Batman comic from 1943, which was like a very dark and brooding Batman story, and said, this is why I want you to direct this film, because of all the other work that Tim Burton had done, which was dark and brooding and had that kind of aesthetic. And Tim Burton read that comic and was like, oh, yeah, this is definitely something I would be interested in. And then he read two more comics. He read The Killing Joke, and he read The Dark Knight Returns. And those three things were absolutely direct influences. Those three comics were direct influences on the movie that Tim Burton created. 100%. So.
All right. So, back to the movie at hand.
I thought we were still on the movie. I didn't know we had to go back to it.
Well, we're bouncing around between everything else. At least it's all in the same world. I obviously I was wrong, but I remember as a kid that the chick dies. I distinctly remember her dying in this movie.
Vicky Vale?
Yeah.
Wow.
So when I watched it, I'm like, hold on, I could have sworn she died. So obviously,
she definitely killed the role, though.
Like, I was surprised because in my mind, she, like, when Joker like at basically the final battle scene when they're up on the rooftop, and then she gets basically thrown off the ledge and she dies.
Hmm.
But I'm wrong. I'm just misremembering from 30 plus years ago. But so watching, I was like, holy crap! I don't remember this ending. Interesting.
I think they did an awesome job casting her, and I know that was just the time, right? She was just a big Hollywood star at the time and was a very attractive woman, and it made sense for the movie. But she actually did a pretty damn good job considering her role was big, but it's not big, I guess, per se. She's just very good supporting character. But one of my favorite, well, two of my favorite scenes. One is, and it's such a stupid scene, but it's Keaton's over there to like trying to tell her that he's Batman, and Joker comes in and goes through the whole thing with her, and they think they killed him, and then she doesn't even think about it, just goes to open the package he left her, and the fucking hand comes up and
with
she just
dead
drops.
roses.
Yeah. And she just drops right through she's just like, oh God, after everything today, I can't handle that. And then
So I mean, all right. So obviously with that, right? And you can see they show the scenes like she's piecing it together.
Sure.
But I know Alfred tells him, hey, maybe you can actually tell this one. But
he's right about that.
Yeah.
That's actually right where I'm going.
For those that can't see, though, really quick, I can read it. You can go there, Chris. But for those who can't see, Rocketman just said, the thing I hated about the older films is that Alfred was just always fucking letting people into the Batcave.
Right. So she starts putting it together, and Alfred even says, hey, maybe you can tell this one the truth. And that's why he went to that part. But he hadn't told her yet. And she just later, she just appears. Alfred's like, come on in. Here he is, sitting here. Damn, Alfred, you fucking just gave up those goods like it was nothing. Like he was trying to smash by showing off who Batman was. Who I know.
I clean up for him. Just
he doesn't. He doesn't do that in Batman Returns, though.
I think that's a more secretive movie. I think.
But what I mean is, he doesn't do that in Batman Returns. He doesn't do it in Batman Forever. But he does do it in Batman and Robin Batman Forever he lets Robin in. That's right. And then in Batman and Robin he lets Batgirl in.
His niece.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Alfred's just a really good judge of character. Like he must be really fucking good.
Or he's really bad at secrets. It's hard to tell.
So Jen wanted me to voice her observations from the film. So I have a couple of things that she had me write down so I wouldn't forget them. At the very beginning, she's like, Batman didn't recover any of the stolen goods from the bad guys on the roof after he kicked their ass. He just leaves and all the money's blowing everywhere and the jewelry, it's just up there. And I told her, I said, well, usually by the time Batman beats him up and leaves, the cops are on their way. And then, of course, it does show the cops taking both of them away. And she's like, but I don't see any of the stuff they stole with the cops either. So Batman's terrible at recovering things.
So it's like, yeah, well, I stopped those guys from robbing them people, but they still lost their shit.
Yeah.
Like, you're still being punished.
Yeah.
Don't get robbed.
And then Jen was like, later on in the movie, when they're at the benefit party at Wayne Manor, she's like, why is Vicky wearing a wedding dress to this party? Because it's very clearly a white wedding dress that she's wearing at this party. It doesn't fit in with any of the other outfits that people at the party are wearing. It's this very noticeable white wedding dress, according to my wife. I didn't notice it.
It's
but my wife
she peacocks. That's what it is.
Immediately.
She's absolutely peacocking because her character has
looking for the attention. She was trying to get Bruce Wayne's attention. She wanted to stand out to Bruce Wayne.
And then she also really wanted me to emphasize the point that Batman, as Bruce Wayne, takes advantage of a drunk woman. She's drunk, she can't walk, she can't stand, and he still winds up in bed with her. They do the deed, and it is what it is. It's never talked about, it's never discussed, but clearly she can't stand. He's helping her up the stairs. She's like, I'm really drunk. And he's like, so am I. And then they're in bed anyway.
Hold on. I don't recall, but was he also drinking?
He had one glass because she's like,
Oh.
I'm really drunk. And he's like, so am I. She's like, you barely drank anything. And he's like, after one glass, I'm flying. But he's clearly not inebriated at all, right? Like,
We're not going to get into that topic because that can get us canceled.
He's just trying to get into her bat cave.
He got in it, and she didn't regret it. So
The next day, she's like,
the next morning.
all right,
with,
Alfred,
like-
I'll see you guys next time.
that was weird. After that, like the walk of shame she did, leaving. And I'm like, oh, Alfred must see this all the time, right? Alfred's like, oh, here goes another bitch. Like, okay,
Oh man.
you want to go check out the Batcave real quick? Like, I
He'd be
got.
like, did you need some money for the ride home? Can I call you a car?
It's
'Cause
like
I'm not driving you anywhere.
it reminds me of Iron Man. Not that we're talking about Iron Man, but the girl that Tony gets in the beginning of the film, and she's like, "Oh, Pepper Potts, you do whatever Iron Man or whatever Tony Stark says." She's like, "Yeah, sometimes I even take out the trash right this way."
But you know, that's also it's a movie of its times too, right? Because Ghostbusters has their obvious attempted rape scene, right?
Yeah.
Like the jokes are there. It's of the time. But I mean, I guess technicalities, he did take advantage of a drunk woman.
Rocket Man, that bat had rabies. That's why it was locked up.
Really?
No, just
Oh. You said it straight face, and I was like, really?
Like, is that a deleted scene? I missed that.
If you'd have left that alone, I'd have went with it. I'd have been. I'm like, son of a bitch.
That would have been a new fact in Tony's head at the next like hangout with Tuna. He would have brought it up. Like,
Right. I'd have been like, did you fucking know? Like,
oh man, no, it just
um,
that's always been my headcanon because again, it's just one bat and there's thousands of bats everywhere else. One bat is in the cage. It's like, all right, that bat has rabies.
so now, like, and this is me going off of not knowing, being a big fan of it, and knowing the more recent versions of Batman that I've enjoyed. But like in this movie, Commissioner Gordon ain't shit, right? Like I'm used to Commissioner Gordon being somebody substantial, like a really important character. In this movie, he's just like a tossed away piece of shit cop.
Yeah, because he wasn't important in the lore until much later. Because like again,
Right, I was saying. So I know him as the later renditions. So like that's why I was like, well, that's kind of weird.
remember, I mean, I don't know if you ever watched the '66 Batman show or that movie, but Gordon in those episodes is clueless. In the movie, he's
Kind of a
clueless. He has
buffoon.
no idea what's going on.
yeah, he's a buffoon.
I mean, he's usually pretty clueless in most of the movies until Batman feeds him information. Then all of a sudden he picks it up and understands. But see, and then so in this movie, there's one character in this movie that annoys the piss out of me, and I wish he was not even in the fucking movie.
Don't say Bob.
No, I love Bob the Goon,
Okay.
but I fucking wasn't Knox, the fucking reporter.
Oh,
I don't know.
looks
Oh,
like
he's
Tom
so
Hanks
fucking-
almost.
Yeah,
I know him from. He's one of those actors I've seen him 100 different things, right? Like I know him from other things. I can't think of his fucking name at the top of my head.
He was not a necessary character by any means in the movie.
But the way he acted, and obviously when you look outside of the Joker gun, you know, like I said, the comic book logic, the way he acted was very animated and over the top, and it didn't really seem to fit, at least to me, because it seems like the over the top ones were obviously Joker and his henchmen, but the normal people in the city didn't really seem to be like over the top characteristics of people, right? So you have this one reporter, the way he's acting, talking, loud as shit, like bro, like shut the fuck up, you're annoying. Like I understand you're there to get the Vicky Vale story to have that, you know, push it along, but like as a character, like he could have died in the beginning or not been there at all. I would have been much happier because he was fucking annoying.
he did die in one draft, and they even filmed him dying, but decided not to keep it that way.
Oh, they should have left it.
But I mean, he's also supposed to play the part of the audience. So it's like,
The audience can't get laid, I guess. Jeez.
well, no, it's more about like he believes Batman, but everybody keeps saying that there's no such thing, and they're, oh, that's not it, and like he's the one that's crazy. Oh, it's like the same character in Independence Day, right? Randy Quaid plays that character, the guy who's like, oh, there's aliens. There's no aliens. You're crazy. It's the
I'm
same
not
thing.
getting to that. And that's stupid shit.
But yeah, I mean, Knox was kind of unnecessary when we look back at it, but
I mean, even as a character, it's fine. Like I said, just the way he was portrayed, the actor, the way he
Yeah.
portrayed it, it was just fucking annoying. Like he could have toned it down a little bit, probably been just as fine. Done exactly the same thing he was supposed to do, but just the way he was acting, like it just seemed out of place and over the top for no reason.
yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think that this 89 Batman movie should definitely get more appreciation for what it did to make comic book movies mainstream, right? Like, so 1978 Superman movie showed that a comic book character could make a good movie, right? If it was done properly and taken seriously. But this Batman movie really changed the way society viewed Batman, but it also changed the way that comic book movies could be received, right? Like you could say I'm basing this on comics because again, Tim Burton based it on 3 very specific comics when he made this film. And that's why you have the Jack Nicholson being older than Batman. You have him more being gangster, right? Because that's all from The Dark Knight Returns. Then you have like this maniacal sense of destruction, which was in The Killing Joke. And then what was it? Jesus, I don't remember. It was Tim Burton. It was Batman the Killing Joke from 88, Batman the Dark Knight Returns from 86, and Detective Comics number 439, which is called Night of the Stalker, which was written in 1974. And that's Batman being in the shadows, being brooding, being, like he can't be himself. He's not a happy person that believes in the good in everybody like Superman does.
So,
and that's why they have Bruce Wayne give that line, which was it became essentially a throwaway line, but he says it's not a perfect world.
okay, I guess it was thrown away for a reason. But so, like I said, I enjoyed the movie. It wasn't bad. I don't find it to be the best Batman movie. I don't find it to be the best old Batman movie. I much prefer Batman Returns over Batman 89. But maybe I'm off base on that one, but I feel like it was, at least for me, a much more enjoyable movie. And probably because of the villains, I feel were more entertaining.
So, what is it about Batman Returns? You said the villains. What about them?
I think maybe the villains mainly. The whole Catwoman Penguin aspect.
It was much darker. Definitely a much darker film.
Also, but at the same time, much more comic book feeling too. But I wouldn't have cared about that as a kid because I wouldn't have known. But now watching it, the parade says like the whole thing is just much more comic book feeling to me. I just find it to be a more entertaining movie, and mainly because of the villains.
I like the movie. Okay, so I know we're supposed to be staying with 89, but I like Batman Returns. I don't have any problems with the movie. It's fun to watch. But when I watch 89 Batman and then I watch Batman Returns, I almost can't tell that Burton did them both. Because when you watch this,
I'll agree with that absolutely.
Huh?
I said I'll agree with that absolutely.
Because when you watch the
same world.
Well, I feel like I watched the second one, and I might as well be watching Nightmare Before Christmas, because the Triangle Gang, Christmas, the Circus Gang, the Red Triangle Circus Gang, or whatever. Those character designs, just the darkness of the movie in general, the way they portrayed the Penguin, being less gangster and more
monster.
Yeah, more monster, dark entity kind of thing. Catwoman was Catwoman. I think she was. I don't want to say she was spot on. That was just a different adaptation of Catwoman. I think she was less cat burglar and more just mischief maker. Just in my opinion. And maybe they didn't want to go that route in the movie. Maybe they just didn't want to explore that part of her. They just wanted her character in the movie. Just in general, just that character.
Right.
But yeah, I just think it's a much darker movie, and honestly, looking back, again, entertaining, but I don't know. It's like watching Nightmare Before Christmas live action.
I think it fills a different role, right? So like you mentioned Catwoman.
Mhm.
At that point, like Catwoman was being used to fill a different spot. You see, like in the 66 series and movie, Catwoman is a cat burglar, right?
Yeah.
But she's now kind of become this almost vigilante-ish thief in comics and in modern interpretations, right? There's more behind her other than, ooh, that's shiny, I want it. And that's how she was in the 66 show and movie. And in this movie, it was kind of like that morphing into, well, there's more depth to this character. It's not this surface level shallow woman, I want that jewelry, I'm gonna take it, right? It was someone tried to kill her for doing the right thing and she's trying to get back at them, but she doesn't feel she can go through the proper channels, because trying to go through the proper channels is what got her almost killed to begin with. And so how
It's
is
almost
she
more anti-hero.
Yeah. So it's like, how am I going to accomplish this? I'm going to have to do it myself. And as far as mischief, I mean, she blows up a department store, Shrek's like flagship department store. She blows it up.
Yeah.
She,
That's mischievous.
I mean, I would say that's more than mischievous. And then she straight up kills Max Shrek at the end.
Well, he deserved it. He was a dick.
I'm not saying that he didn't deserve it. What I'm saying is, I think that we just have like different ideas, I guess. And again, it would depend on the comics that you read and your introduction to the character. Like, I would say that as much as I like Burgess Meredith as the Penguin in the 1966 show, he's a buffoon. He's not really a gangster. Like, he's a rich monocle wearing, like, cigarette on a pipe smoking, like, there's nothing menacing about him at all, the same way that there's nothing menacing about that Joker. Yeah, they kill people, they do bad things, but you're not afraid of them. They're buffoons. You're afraid of Penguin in Batman Returns. And as far as your comment about it felt like you were watching live action Nightmare Before Christmas, it should. He was working on both of them at the same time. Batman Returns came out in 92. Nightmare Before Christmas came out in 93. Right? So Nightmare Before Christmas is based on a book that he wrote years before, but he was working on the final screenplay in preparation to film it before it ended up being directed by somebody else. So he was working on the two screenplays simultaneously. Of course, they're very similar, right? Christmas time in both of them, but also it doesn't feel like a Tim Burton movie because the studio took a very strong hand in this film, which is part of the reason why he didn't come back for Batman Forever, right? The studio wanted something light. They wanted something family friendly. They didn't get that in 1989, especially the very end. He kills Joker. And so they're like, you can't make this as dark. We don't want it brooding. And so he had to have what offsets black, white, right? Like on the color palette, you have black. The opposite side, you have white. And so if it's nighttime and you got to brighten it up, you're going to have snow. When does it snow? Wintertime. How do we get lights in here? We're going to make it Christmas time. We're going to make it New Year. And that was all part of the studio interfering, which is why at the very end, when McDonald's said, I can't believe they did this, we put this whole thing behind a Happy Meal for Batman Returns. The studio was like, hey, you're changing everything for the third movie. And Burton's like, I'm just not going to do the third movie. Like, have the script that I was working on. I don't care. I'm not coming back. If you're not going to let me do what I want to do, I'm leaving.
So
yeah, then they just went to neon lights and shitty stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, so bad.
Especially considering that Billy D. Williams was supposed to be Two-Face, and they used like half of the Batman script that Burton had been working on for the third film and got rid of the rest of it.
All right. So if you, I mean, would you put this 89 Batman, would you put it as one of the top Batman movies? And if so, is it just purely due to nostalgia from loving it as a kid, or do you really feel it's just the better of the movies?
Are you asking Tony or me?
You guys, you're
Okay.
both here.
So-
Round table this shit.
All right.
You
So,
guys.
as far as I'm concerned, if I were to rank my top 3 Batman movies, they would be as follows: The Dark Knight, Batman 89, Batman Mask of the Phantasm.
Ooh, forgot about. Well, you're talking live action. I don't think we're including animated.
Well, so that's why I just said Batman movies, right?
Okay.
But for me, I don't think that Batman 89 is the best Batman movie. I think that they did so much with The Dark Knight, and that movie worked so well. That has to be number 1 for me. But Batman 89, I put as number 2 because if Batman 89 hadn't done what it did, we wouldn't have any other Batman movies like we have now. We wouldn't have a lot of comic book movies the way we have them now, right? Like, they would be gone. It just wouldn't exist. When did the last Superman movie come out? Didn't that come out in 1987? Like Superman 4, The Quest for Peace?
Wasn't there a
that
Superman movie like 2
1987?
years ago?
No, God damn it, Tony. I knew what he was talking about. He meant like back then.
Oh,
Before Batman, when was the last Superman movie?
I think it came out in 87, and the movie was so bad that they're like, okay, we're not doing comic books, we're not making any more Superman movies.
thank Christ.
And then Michael Uslan decided, hey, I'm going to get a Batman movie made the way that I, as a comic book fan, want a Batman movie. Went to Tim Burton, and thankfully Tim Burton, who was very, very popular at the time, right? Tim Burton absolutely could have said, get that out of here, I don't want to deal with it. But he decided to pick it up and do something with it. And it gave us modern comic book movies. I mean, I'm not trying to oversell it, but without Batman 89, we don't have the comic book movies that we have now. We just don't.
I'm just trying to think of like, what did Tim Burton do before that?
Tim Burton did several things before that, but one of his most popular was Pee Wee Herman, and it made him one of the most sought after directors in Hollywood.
I forgot he did Pee Wee Herman.
He's like a almost like Tom Waits for cinematography.
Because like when I think Tim Burton, obviously you think of when I think of Tim Burton, I don't even think of Batman 89. I think Batman Returns, right? When I think of Tim Burton, that one, Nightmare, Edward Scissorhand, like those movies, like I don't know his movie rap sheet, whatever the fuck you want to call it, especially before those.
Tim Burton's first 3 big Hollywood productions, right? Tim Burton's first 3 big Hollywood productions after leaving Disney, because remember, he worked with Disney and he made a bunch of cartoons and like he was sought after, but he and Disney companies started fighting. He left. He did Pee Wee Herman in like 85 or 86, something like that, the movie.
Pee Wee Herman's that old? Jesus.
Yeah. And then
he's dead now, isn't he?
He did that movie was such a success that they backed him to make his own movie, which was Beetlejuice, which came out 87, 88. I don't know if Pee Wee Herman came out 85 or 86, but I would say like 2 years after that, Beetlejuice had to come out.
I'm getting old, man. In my mind, Pee Wee Herman, Beetlejuice is all 90s. Like in my mind, that's where they're at. So I didn't even think that they were.
Yeah. And then Batman. Right? So he went from Pee Wee Herman, which was a huge box office success, to Beetlejuice, which was his own creation, was a huge success. And then this guy comes to him like, hey, will you make this comic book movie? He could have said, get out of here. But he's like, let me see, let me talk to you. He talked to him. He read the comic the guy gave him, and he gave us Batman 89. I mean, again, not to oversell it, but without Tim Burton, without 89, we have no comic book movies. Not the way we have them now.
Fair. So, all right. What about you, Tony? Do you put this up there as like number one Batman?
No, I get it. I enjoy the movie. I do. I really enjoy the movie. I think it's a great movie. I think it's great for its time. Am I going to say it's the best of all the Batmans? No. Um, but I also wouldn't say any of the new adaptations are really anything to write home about. I think every movie contributes something to Batman's world as far as like what it brings to the table, just like the movies themselves. I think even though I think I like 89 better. I think Batman Returns was a better movie. Um, I don't know. Maybe they learned from the first one. I don't know. Maybe he was just more engrossed. But I'm talking out of both ends of my mouth because I'm sitting here like, well, it was like watching Nightmare Before Christmas. But I enjoy that kind of stuff. So I enjoyed the darkness and the cinematography and the way they shot that movie. I think they did a great job. I will agree with you. Mask of the Phantasm is a great fucking movie. If we're going to talk about animated for Batman, there are a lot of animated Batman movies, and some of them are really badass. But Mask of the Phantasm is fucking great, and and Hamill is his fucking laugh at the end when she's holding him and he's just laying back like this, and he's watching everything explode. And he's fucking bleeding, and he's just his scream of a laugh before it fades to black is just awesome. And then I again, an unpopular opinion, I think the Batman, I hate his car and I hate his Bruce Wayne, but I love what they did with him as Batman, and I'd like to see more of that. And they're supposed to do another one, but I'd like to see more of him and more of that gangster side. He did a lot of what we saw in the Batman game. Uh, it's not. I don't think it's one of the Arkham games. What is the one where you fight the Penguin? We talked about this before. You've got like you go into the Iceberg Lounge and everything, and you're fighting the Penguin in one of the Arkham games.
That's Arkham City.
Okay, so Arkham City. So the Penguin that is in that game is very much the Penguin that is in the Batman. So that whole gangster side, that whole gangster scene, they did an awesome job with, and I think the Batman that they use in the movie did a really good job as well. I don't know, just great character. I enjoyed it. I do think some of the stuff is kind of stupid that they did with him, but I think his character himself is badass. And I like the movie honestly because of the way he does it. I'd go with those three.
I like it. So, like I said, I enjoyed this movie. I wasn't mad at it. I enjoyed. There's problems I had with it, but for it being what it is, I definitely did enjoy it. I know on Tuesday night, Psycho was getting pretty pissed. Like, how anybody could say this is a bad fucking movie? Like, it wasn't a bad movie, but there is nuances.
I will say in response to what Tony was saying at the very beginning about taking things from certain films or whatever. I don't know. I assume that you have at some point watched the animated series, right? That's one of my favorite shows of all time. And I remember back when I was in college, my wife had never seen the show, and at the time we were living with her sister and her sister's boyfriend, and neither of them had never seen the animated series. So we decided we were going to watch the whole run together. And so we went through and we watched it. And then when we were done, we watched Batman Begins. And it's amazing how many shot-for-shot things they stole from Batman the Animated Series, to the point of when the demon Batman, right? When he gets sprayed with his own toxin and he's right, all afraid, and it shows like the demon Batman, and he's like drooling this like black bile out of his mouth. That was absolutely stolen shot for shot from an episode of the animated series, which came 10 years before it, right? Like where he gets gassed with his own toxin. He turns into that same demon Batman. Like, it's just crazy. And there were so many instances of that when I watched the whole series and then watched Batman Begins, I was like, wow, this is nuts how much you've actually just lifted and used directly. So I think when something's good and it works, especially when you're dealing with comics and continuity, you just keep it up. You pick it up and you run with it. The same way that the animated series used the competent Jim Gordon that was established in the comic Batman Year One, right? In 1987. That was the first time we see a Jim Gordon who's actually good at his job, who does great police work, who is an asset to Gotham City. And ever since that, and the animated series picking it up and using that Gordon, every time we've seen Jim Gordon after that, that's the Jim Gordon we get. We shake your head at.
No,
He's having a seizure?
no, because I knew where John was going to say. That's the Jim Gordon we've gotten anytime we've seen him since then, and it's not. Just that damn show. It's not good, but it's funny to watch. The Harley Quinn show. The
Yeah.
cartoon. Yeah, Jim Gordon is not competent.
I mean, I've never seen the show. I was talking about like movies and stuff. Because you have the competent Jim Gordon in the animated series, but then you have Gary Oldman's Jim Gordon in the Dark Knight trilogy, right? And you have jeez.
Like I said, I knew where you're going. You're gonna say since then, but it's like that. Harley Quinn, he is not competent. He's a fucking drugged out, fucking drunk at least. Like he's not a good cop.
You got to call the Harley Quinn show what it is, though. It's just a comedy spoof of Harley. That's all it is.
Oh, it is. It's hilarious, and I enjoy it.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
You're not missing
You probably
much.
wouldn't like it because it screws with so much of the image of all this different heroes and villains, and it does not do justice to any of those characters.
It tries
Harley
very
and
hard. It tries very hard.
to purposely destroy them.
It just tries very hard to be so much more than it is. It's not a, how do I say this without sounding weird? Like, it's not a good show, but it's good for what it is, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, it does what it's
fun.
supposed
It's
to
a
do.
fun show, but it's not good. But it's fun.
Right, exactly. Don't take it for anything more than that. It's just a fun show.
Okay. I don't know.
A lot of cat hair over here.
But cool. Well, I mean, you guys got anything else? We're now done with beating this dead horse.
I mean, I think we're about done with Batman. I did want to give a prediction for Avengers Doomsday, though.
Go for it.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. Batman's done. Let's move on to Marvel.
Oh,
and I saw a trailer for something. I want to see if Tony saw it. So go ahead.
I mean, you could do that at first if you want. I don't care. But
they're remaking Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Get the fuck out of here.
They showed the trailer. Nobody I recognize. It's campy as shit from the trailer I saw. But apparently they showed it off at Comic-Con.
It's got to be. So who did it wasn't Troma. Who redid Toxic Crusader? I forget. Toxic Avenger?
That wasn't still Troma?
I didn't think it was.
It felt like Troma.
Well, yeah, it was supposed to feel like Troma, but I don't know if it was Troma.
All right. To say it felt like Troma, that feels like it was fucked by Troma. Like that, like Troma was all up in that bitch.
Huh. Go ahead. I'll look it up while we're talking about it.
I was curious if you saw it. Go ahead, Psycho, with your prediction.
Yeah, no, the movie comes out August 7th, so it's going to be out in just a couple days.
Which one's that?
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, yeah.
It looks so bad, and not even like bad in a good way. Like it looks so bad, but I want to watch it.
It's called Attack of the Killer Tomatoes: Organic Intelligence.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome.
Anyway, so I brought this up Tuesday, and Tony told me to wait until tonight, but I'm going to put my prediction out there that we don't know anything about this movie at all, and everything that we think we know is wrong. I don't believe at this juncture that Robert Downey Jr. is playing Dr. Doom at all. I think.
Did I say that on the cast?
I'm sorry?
Really?
Did I say that on the cast? I said recently that I have a feeling that the whole Robert Downey Jr., him coming out in the costume and being like, "Oh, I'm Dr. Doom." I'm starting to think that was a swerve. That's not actually going to be a thing.
I think that that's what's going on. I think what's going to happen is that he's returned as Tony Stark, and that they knew if he was coming to set every day, because it's RDJ going to the filming of a Marvel movie, people were gonna be like, oh my God, Tony Stark is back. So instead of that, they're like, hey, we cast RDJ as Doctor Doom and he's gonna be the villain, and this is how it's gonna go.
It was I mentioned that Tuesday night. It was before you got on because we were looking at the figures, and it was the Hot Toys ones. I'd mentioned that
Look
I'm
nothing
wondering
like
just
him.
because they didn't show it. There was no mask. They had no maskless version.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, I'm starting to wonder if he's not actually Doctor Doom. And then fucking Joe's like, those are RDJ eyes. Like, all right, calm down, Joe. Like, we don't play poker with them like you do.
What did it for me though is the voice of Doom in the trailer sounds nothing like the voice of Doom that RDJ was using at the panel. Nothing like it. Right? If you go back and you listen to him talking like Doctor Doom, there's a part where he's like, how everybody welcomed me into this new family, and he starts going into the Latvian accent, and it sounds nothing like the accent being used as Doom in the trailer. It just, I don't know. And I started thinking to myself, I'm like, they would want something to be a surprise, right? And so if you have RDJ coming back as Iron Man, which is what everybody wants, people would know that immediately. But if you come out and make this big deal about how the reason he's there is because now he's playing this iconic villain, people are going to get pissed, which they did, right? And I'm one of them. But people are going to be like, all right, fine, we'll just see. And then in the movie, it turns out he's not. Like, I just get the feeling we're going to be watching the movie, and at some point, Iron Man's going to come flying in, and it's going to be him. It's going to be RDJ, and he's not going to be playing Doctor Doom.
Rocketman makes a good point. Yes, there is more than one Doom, so it's based on universes, right? It's not Victor Von Doom. And then at the end of Fantastic Four, he's right. They showed Robert Downey as Doom kidnapping the kid.
Except you never see his face, and he doesn't kidnap anybody. She comes walking in the room, and he's knelt down by the kid talking to him, and his mask is off, and he's holding the mask in his hand, but you never see his face. You only see the back of his head, you only see the green hood, and you see a mask in his hand. You never see anything other than that, and then it ends. He doesn't kidnap anybody. He doesn't take anybody away. It's just Sue Storm comes walking into the room because something's not right, and there's this person kneeled down holding a mask, which you know is Doom's mask, like crouched in front of the kid talking to him. You never see RDJ's face. You never hear a voice. Nope, you never hear a voice, and he doesn't leave with the child.
Fun.
The child.
Who's the kid supposed to be?
Franklin Richards.
So the most powerful mutant in the world, and he's just gonna like try and kidnap him?
No, that's Magneto.
No, it's not. But okay,
that was a joke. But all right. Calm the fuck down.
Anybody who's a real Marvel fan knows the most powerful mutant is Santa Claus. We already went through this, but
Santa Claus.
We went through this already, Tony. You were drinking that day. But yes, we went through this.
I got to go back and watch that one.
We did discuss this.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So, I'd made that same general idea the other night too. Infinity War. So in Infinity War, when they're damn it disappeared. When they're in the park, he said that the dream felt so real. Okay.
Yeah, when Tony is talking to them about what he's envisioned, like what he's seen in the dream, before he gets called away, right?
Right.
Again, I just after Comic-Con, I just started getting this feeling that they're trying to make us believe exactly what they want us to believe. That's why they told us so far in advance that RDJ was going to be Doctor Doom, but we've never seen RDJ in actual Doctor Doom costume at all, right? Like not even parts of the costume. And it just, something about it just doesn't feel right. And again, personally, I think we're going to go into the movie and it's not, Doctor Doom is not going to be RDJ. And yes, there is a multiverse, and we don't know if it's Victor Von Doom yet because they haven't said anything other than Doom. They haven't told us anything other than Doom and Doctor Doom, right? So could it be a multiversal like version of Tony Stark? Absolutely. And there's theories that it's Tony wasn't actually Howard's son, the Tony that we know that Doom was, and like there's people have been trying to tie things together how it's going to work, and we'll know before the film comes out when they re-release Endgame in theaters. They're adding a bunch to it that they had filmed in case they came back to do the others. So it's going to be a new cut of Endgame when it comes to theaters in November, and we'll get a little bit more. But again, I have this suspicion now after.
Are they doing a double thing?
Huh?
What are they doing Endgame and then they're gonna do?
No,
Doomsday?
they're going to release Endgame in November.
Oh, okay.
And you can go see it. It's going to be a new cut. Allegedly, the directors of Infinity War and Endgame, who are also directing Doomsday and Secret War, had filmed scenes that they were considering putting in, which they decided not to because Marvel's like, let's just end everything here. Like, let's wrap it up. And so they didn't add anything else into it. But apparently what they're re-releasing in November is going to be the scenes that they had filmed that they didn't add to it. And they're going to line up directly with what's going to happen in Doomsday.
I mean, okay.
And so people are like, it's not evil Tony. It's that the Tony Stark that we know was
Well, if it's evil Tony, it's got to be Tony with just a big mustache, just the evil mustache. That's it. That's how you're going to be able to tell it's
giant
evil Tony.
mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and yeah, so Rocket Man says Hot Toys released their Doom figure and it was the first to not come with an RDJ head sculpt. But also keep in mind, like even Captain America, those figures you could take his helmet off, right? Like the Hot Toys figures came either with a cap with no helmet on or a cap that had a removable helmet. There's always a face head and
a face sculpt underneath, yeah.
But we saw nothing for Doom, and it's just so many little things about the panel. After I watched it, the day after they did it, I watched it, and I'm like, I bet they're trying to trick all of us. I bet this is not RDJ at all, but he's going to show up as Iron Man, and it's somebody that we don't know that they cast as Doom.
They can't do a rando. I think that would kill the whole vibe.
I don't think it would at all.
Mm.
Right? Like
you don't need a big name, like unless they're really gonna like if they're just throwing out all kinds of swerves, you know what I mean?
You absolutely
Robin Williams.
What?
Jesus Christ. That would be amazing.
What?
Bring Robin Williams back.
Robin Williams, Dr. Doom.
Like you absolutely don't need a big name for Doom, especially if you're not going to unmask him often, if at all.
Dr. Doom. Oh.
But
but whoever they pick for Dr. Doom, they'll almost instantly become a big name. Right?
Yes.
Dr. Doolittle.
It's like look what happened with Chris Evans. He was an actor. People knew him. He was the Human Torch, but he wasn't big. He became Captain America, and he became huge, right? Like
he was known for doing a bunch of like rom-coms and shit.
Yes,
like, mainly chick flicks.
Yeah, he was hilarious.
I was gonna say, but didn't they? But no, he was cast as something else in the MCU, wasn't he?
Who?
I think he was cast as Ghost Rider.
Ryan Gosling.
Okay, I would say, what if they're trying to like have him be it, but they're like announcing him as Ghost Rider? But that's I think it's too much swerving. They'd be like, oh, he's gonna be Ghost Rider, and he pops up as Doom. I think that would kill that.
I think he's gonna be terrible Ghost Rider.
Well, it depends on the Ghost Rider they want him to be. If they make him Danny Ketch, I think he'll be okay. I'm not happy they chose Ryan Gosling, but if the rumor that he's going to be playing Danny Ketch is accurate, I think he'll be fine.
And then at Comic-Con 2, Ryan Reynolds was there, dressed up as Deadpool.
Yep.
walking around, taking photos with fans, and then went to the panel and started begging to be in Avengers Doomsday. Which I feel like he's most likely in it. They're just not saying anything because
You know what would be
Would he not
interesting,
be?
and I think that there's less than a 0.25% that this actually happens, but I think would actually be very good. Imagine if RDJ is Iron Man, right? But they're just saying he's Doctor Doom, and Henry Cavill ends up being Doctor Doom. I think that would work. I think that Henry Cavill as Doctor Doom would work very, very well.
I mean, he's already Cavill Rain.
Yes, but that was a one-off. Marvel has said that he's not playing that character. They just thought it would be interesting, and they did it so fans. But there's been all these rumors that he had been meeting with Marvel. And then there was a rumor for a while that he had signed a deal with Marvel and that he would be debuting as Captain Britain. And then those rumors that he signed a deal with Marvel all disappeared. They stopped being talked about. And all of that happened about the time that RDJ was announced as Doctor Doom. And so I'm not saying it's what's happening, but I could kind of see, because that Doctor Doom figure looked kind of built. He didn't look scrawny the way Tony Stark looks outside of the Iron Man suit, right? His shoulders were significantly broader. He looked stockier.
I mean, maybe. I'm not against it.
Maybe it's Henry Cavill. Henry
That
Cavill
was a
said
big dude, though. He's pretty cut.
Henry Cavill said that he'd like to play a villain if he was going to get into comic book movies. And there's no more complex a villain that someone could play than Doctor Doom. Sometimes he does good things. Sometimes he does bad things. But whenever he's doing anything, it's because he believes it's what has to be done. I don't know. I could absolutely see it. I could definitely see a giant swerve and we get someone like Henry Cavill coming out as Doctor Doom.
Interesting.
Because again, like Henry Cavill showing up to a Marvel set isn't going to make people be like, "Oh, what the hell?" Like he was in Deadpool. They're not going to do anything with him, right? Like people say he's going to be Captain Britain, and then he comes out as Doctor Doom. I think that'd be crazy.
Okay. So, no, I don't want to talk about that because that comes out this weekend.
What?
I heard a potential spoiler for Spider-Man. I don't want to discuss it in case it is.
Oh yeah, don't say anything. I want to see it.
I'm going to see Spider-Man on Sunday.
Cool.
I got to see it before I go back to work. I mean, I go back to work tomorrow, but I got to see it before the kids come back because they will spoil everything. So,
well, if they spoil it, you fail them. Isn't that how it works?
No, that's not how it works.
Well, then you're doing it wrong.
How it works.
What?
All right, cool. So, let's wrap this up then. Let's get on and out of here. Tony, is there anything that you'd like to plug, sir, for next week?
No, I not for nothing. I got nothing. I am running out of things that we could talk about, man. Comic-Con like bled us out for a good 3 days, man. So I'm gonna say it's a wild card, and we'll just talk about anything and everything. Probably go over some pickups, stuff I was showing you guys already. I've got more things coming in, so I will definitely have plenty to I'm sure show on the cast. I got some cool stuff.
Psycho now has some shit to double down on because we're fucking stupid. So yeah,
there you go.
Well, then we'll have plenty to talk about.
Now I feel even dumber having not bought a second Ecto Glow Ecto 1.
Well, they're still available.
I think it's still available. I might just go get a second one just because I have 2 of the Ghostbusters. I have, more than 2 of the
Well, here's what I would suggest to you. You'll have 2 sets of the Ghosts, you'll have 2 Ectos, and you'll have 2 sets of Busters. So, I mean, at that point,
Ghosts.
What are you, like, $150 away from an Ecto swap?
I mean, closer than that if you still want that Foot Clan pack.
If all those things go together, that could be an even swap.
I mean, you told me that you didn't have that 4-pack, and you said that you thought you wanted it, but we never talked about it. So
we'll connect. We'll connect afterwards.
Oh, cool. Oh, look at that. Even Moo's going Saturday, so he and I can talk about it next week.
Yay!
Oh, when are you going to see
Yeah,
it?
so everybody's going to go this weekend. 'Cause I think it's going to be one that, if what I heard is true, that's going to be an interesting way for a movie to go. So,
Tony, before we get out of here, I'll ask you when the show ends. Never mind. I'll ask you when the show ends.
fair. So, there for next week for collectors, we don't have anything specifically planned yet, but uh, if anything, it'll probably be a wild card too, just to keep up with drinks and toys. Unless something pops up, if it does, there'll be a thumbnail somewhere showing the date, and people will know in advance what we're going to be doing.
Maybe some video game stuff.
Maybe the podcast side really likes that. The YouTube video side, not so much, but the podcast side really likes the video game stuff.
I
'Cause
did
they
play
just
the
dropped-
Clarifier game.
They just dropped a bunch of new
Ooh.
information for the new Gears of War game. There's
Sounds
more
boring.
stuff about GTA, so there's definitely stuff to talk about.
Maybe we'll see. Possibility, but cool. So with that, we appreciate everybody coming out, joining us, keeping the chat live. I think we had the little ticker I saw up there, Tony. I don't know if you noticed. At one point, we had like 12 people watching at one time. We jumped.
We're big in Japan.
Hey, man. And Singapore, too. So we're getting out there. But everybody do us a favor, like, share, subscribe. Go subscribe over at, or what is yours? What is it? I know it's Drinks and Toys. Shellhead Toys is actual YouTube. So Shellhead Toys for our Drinks and Toys podcast. Subscribe there, subscribe here, share, tell everybody about us, help us grow, because we think we're better than what our numbers say we are, because we're awesome. But with that, we will be on out of here. Thanks everybody for coming.
No
Have a
capes.
good night. Fucking bastard.